What happens if the person who hits you does not have enough insurance to cover your claim? Hi, I'm attorney Pedro Juarez. I'm a personal injury attorney here in Boston, Massachusetts, where I focus on catastrophic and wrongful death cases involving motor vehicle accidents, premise liability, and things of that nature. So, not to fear, you do have some options, although they're limited, but you do have at least five options as to what you can do if the person who hits you does not have enough insurance or any insurance. So, the first thing that you can look for, your attorney should look for, is to see if there is another defendant, another person who contributed or may have caused the accident. This, based on this legal theory called joint tort, the other person involved in the accident may hold some liability, and if you can prove at least 1% responsibility on that person would also be on the hook for a full or at least partially for to compensate you for your injuries. So that's the first thing you can do. The second thing you can do is if the person doesn't have enough insurance, they only have the statutory minimum of car insurance that is required in the state. Um, you can look to see at their personal assets. Do they have other property? Do they have vacation homes? Do they have 401k, something like that? But typically, people who don't have sufficient insurance or high limits on their car insurance, they're not going to have a lot of assets. Okay. But what happens if the person does have a high policy, but it's still not enough to cover your injury? Well, you can ask their agent or their insurance company to disclose if they have any excess or umbrella policies. This is another layer of coverage. Typically, folks who have higher limits have these umbrella policies, and you can possibly tap into that to find additional coverage. Okay. The fourth thing that you can do is you can go back to your own policy for what is called an underinsurance claim. This is part of your own policy, so you may have higher limits. That's the trick, though, is that you have to have higher limits than what the other person has in order to go back to your own policy. And then the fifth thing that you can do is you yourself may have an excess or an umbrella policy that you can also tap into. So you can go back to your underinsurance and then you can go back to your own umbrella policy. For example, if you have $1 million policy, you may be able to tap into that coverage depending on your injury. If you found this information helpful, please leave a like.